Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can come and get a 10-minute take on the latest news involving the Cleveland Browns. And boy, did we make some news here in the last 24 hours. Folks, before we get down to business, I'd like to remind you, if you can, please like this episode, like all the episodes, and subscribe to the channel. Would love to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're on our way. We got a little work to do, but we're on our way to 1,000, and I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the trades. The big one was the move back from 2 to 5, but we'll talk about the moves they made even before the draft, and why I love the trade. Also, at the same time, I hate the trade. So, a lot to unpack there. We'll talk about who the Browns took at number 5, Mason Graham, and again, why we love the pick, but also why we hate the pick. It was such a roller coaster of emotions last night. And then you go right back at it today, rounds 2 and 3. We'll talk about some round 2 options. Folks, there's a scenario I have for us that'll take us back to the 80s. If we take these two guys, we're going right back to 1986, right? When Bernie and the boys were doing their thing. I'll tell you that option coming up. And then, hey, they're handing out draft grades already. And you know what? The teachers don't like us. So, but hey, that's the deal when you're a Browns fan. But first, let's get started with the trades. It started before the draft. A few hours before the draft, it came down. The Browns were trading some picks with Houston, and they got the 5th round picks. And so, the first thing that told me was, okay, well, they're going to try and package. They're going to try and do something. We talked about this, folks. They had 4 6th round picks, and there was no way they were going to use all of those picks. And so they get the additional 5th round picks, and then which, of course, they ended up using to get and the trade back. But here's the thing. Here's what that first trade told me. And even when you look at the second trade, Andrew Berry doesn't value 6th and 7th round picks because once you get down there, it is, like we talked about, it is a complete crapshoot. And so they get these picks heading into the draft. And now, we get into the draft, and right out of the gate, we hear the Browns have traded with Jacksonville. And right away, I'm thinking, everybody's excited because, everybody feels we fleeced Jacksonville. For once, we fleeced somebody. And so, we get that 1st round pick next year, which was critical, which is really what the whole deal hinged on. So now you have 2 number 1 picks next year. And again, this all goes back to trying to recoup everything you lost in the Deshaun Watson debacle. So you're still trying to make up for that. This Watson thing is such a complete debacle. And so anyway, they're trying to clean up that mess. And so you get that 2nd round pick and you make that move. Okay, they go down to 5. I'm like, this is perfect because Vegas at 6 wanted Ashton Genty. Me, I was like, okay, let's get Ashton. If we trade back, let's get Genty. We got play action, this offense. That's perfect with Flacco and Genty in that backfield. That'd be huge. We talked about it on a previous show. And so here we go. We get there. And, after the trade now, you got picks 33 and 36 in round 2. You got pick 67 and 94 in round 3. Then you got a pick in round 4 at 126. You got a pick in round 5 at 166. And you got a pick in round 6 at 192. The 7th round, like I said, I don't think Barry even cares. So we're all set up. We're set up to win here, right? Here we go. Let's go. 5th pick. Here we go. And what do? Browns take defensive tackle Mason Graham with the 5th pick from Michigan. And so everybody gets all excited because we think we're going a different round. First of all, it was such a roller coaster of emotion because everybody thinks we're taking Travis Hunter, and we're gonna have this generational player on offense. He's gonna play some on defense. We're just gonna watch him run up and down the field with the ball, score a bunch of touchdowns for us. Everybody's all jacked up. But here's the thing with Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry, and this is what frustrates me with him. He always has to be the smartest guy in the room. And there was even a comment yesterday from Matt White on the show. He said that Barry's so good with the smoke screens, and yes, this is proof once again. He had everybody thinking the Browns were taking Travis Hunter when all along I think he knew he was going to trade out of there, And then when he traded out of there, okay, so now I'm thinking, here we go. We need a running back, and the best running back in the draft is going to be available. And so what do? Well, Barry's the smartest guy in the room. Nah, he's gonna pull an about face, and He takes Mason Graham. So Graham, here's the thing. That's why I hated the trade, and then I hated the pick because I was so frustrated. It was such an emotional roller coaster, and I'm going through it. My buddies were going through it, and what's crazy is I have a source who works in the NFL who was texting me like 10 minutes before the pick even came out. He says the Browns are taking Mason Graham, and I thought he's messing with me. I said, no way, they're not doing that. I said they just took Hall last year. I said we need a running back. Genty's right there. Why would you move back to 5 to get in front of Las Vegas if you're not going to take Genty? And he's like, I'm telling you. He's like, are you not listening to me? I wouldn't believe it. And so finally the pick comes in, and it's Mason Graham. And here's the thing. All right, he's 6'3.5". He's almost 300 pounds. I mean, he's a run blocker, but here's the thing. And if you listen to Andrew Berry after the pick was made, at Michigan, he was more of a run stopper. Like they wanted him to hang back and play the run, not so much a pass rusher, but he can rush. He can rush the pass. And so that's what the Browns want him to do. They want him to get upfield, and he can do it. And so he fills two needs because, of course, you got to be able to run the ball and stop the run in the NFL. And so, but unfortunately, this is a passing league as well. And so you got to be able to get rush the passer. And so now you'll get that push up front, with Mike Hall. You got some other guys in there that they're comparing him to Christian Wilkins, who was taken by Miami in the 2019 draft. He's with, ironically, the Las Vegas Raiders now, but that's who they're comparing him to. And so, the bottom line is it's the safe pick, right? So he's a plug and play. You'll get him in there. The reason you can't hate the pick is because we need everything, folks. We've talked about this. And so this is why I kept saying the Browns really can't screw this draft up, because anybody you take is going to fill a need. And so we just got all excited because the offense is terrible, and we thought we were going offense and we were going to start adding some weapons, and it didn't happen. And so that's what the life of a Browns fan. And so what happens? We get Mason Graham, which is it's fine. It's a great pick, and here's why. You have to draft for your division. And with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson running around and Joe Burrow running around and their running game, and of course Pittsburgh's always got their running game. Who knows what they'll do at quarterback? But you draft for the division. And so that's what they did. It helps us tremendously in the division. We'll be able to hopefully stop the run, and hopefully he can run down Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow this upcoming season. So now, what do the Browns do in the second round? So you've got, like I mentioned, you've got those 2 picks in the second round and 2 picks in the third round. So they'll be busy today at 33, 36, 67, and 94. And when you look at the players who are still out there, I mean, you could get Shadir Sanders if you want. But here's the thing. I'd be shocked if they took Shadir Sanders at the top of the first round. I don't think they're that high on the quarterback in this draft. I think that's why they wanted that second first round pick. I think they're looking to next year more so than this year to draft a quarterback of the future. I think they're just going to keep adding pieces this year. I think they're comfortable with Flacco and then Kenny Pickett. I mean, like I said, Stefanski's the quarterback whisperer. He probably thinks he can get something out of him. And so I'm leaning away from them taking a quarterback here. Jackson Dart's gone. But, I mean, Ewers is still there. Will Howard is still there. Shuck's still there. So who knows? I mean, there are options, but I don't think it's going to happen in the second or third round. I think Milroe maybe later with Reese here could be, but I think this is going to be where they still add some weapons. Now, the scenario that I would love to see, how about this? Both Ohio State running backs are still there. Trayvon Henderson and Judkins are both there. How about you get both of those guys with these picks, because it could be one in the second, one in the third, or just get them both. Get your guys, get them both in the second. Take both those guys, and let's go back to the Mack and Biner era. Let's use them like Ohio State used them, 2 1,000-yard rushers. Use them the same way, and just grind teams to death with these two. And so I wouldn't be opposed to something like that. Get those 2 guys, and let's just run the ball down people's throats, and let's use them like Ohio State used them. 2 1,000-yard rushers, be Mack and Biner all over again. And so, I don't know. They have a lot of options, folks. So it will be interesting to see what they do. I'm not even going to try to predict what they do here. And yeah, it's just one of those things. So we'll end today talking about the draft grades, though. And the draft grade, they're not good. Nobody's given the Browns an A on this pick. They are the best we got was a B+ from USA Today. CBS Sports gave us a C+. I'm sorry, A- from Yahoo Sports, but and a grade B from the Akron Beacon Journal. Here's what I'm going to say about this. This isn't incomplete, folks. We're never going to know how good this pick was until after next year's draft. Once we see what happens with Jacksonville, that pick we picked up from Jacksonville, hopefully they stink this year, but they're in that AFC South, which also that entire division stinks, so they have a good chance of winning it. Outside of there's Houston and Indianapolis and Tennessee. So it remains to be seen, folks. You're never going to be able to put a grade on this draft until next year when it all plays out. So that's it, folks. Get ready for rounds 2 and 3. Here we go. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.